Hey everyone, the last Shoegazer here, bringing you another Wild Eye movie review. So today we are going to be talking about 2018's The Snarling. This is a new werewolf film put out by my friends at Wild Eye Releasing. Thanks again to my friend Rob, who knows that I love werewolf films and have done some coverage on Bone Hill Road, directed by my buddy Todd Sheets, and more recently put out by Wild Eye. They have a really nice edition. If you're kind of curious about that one, it is a little bit reminiscent of the Snarling here, but definite differences. But if you're kind of curious about Bone Hill Road, I would definitely recommend checking that werewolf film out. Wild Eye put out a really nice looking edition, and I have a full review on my channel. But yeah, this kind of sets itself apart. I like the color schemes. It does remind me of the cover from Wild Eye of Bone Hill Road, with like the red and the moon, and just kind of the really intense werewolf kind of front and center, and some really eerie atmospheric artwork behind. But yeah, that's about as far as the comparisons go between those two werewolf films. This one's a little bit more of a parody, kind of more or less like a comedic tribute, in my opinion, to An American Werewolf in London. One of my all-time favorite werewolf films. I mean, it's a classic. If you have not seen that, you need to check it out. Even if you're not sure if you're into werewolf films, just fans of horror in general. There's my werewolf barking right now outside, by the way, at some innocent walkers. Speaking of walkers, this definitely kind of focuses on zombies in a way, more through the telling of like a film in progress. Without giving too much away, this does follow a film crew and a director, and their attempts at making a zombie film, which is kind of continually foiled by a very pompous, egocentric main actor who's very full of himself, and just kind of keeps putting a halt to production and filming. And so there's some cool underlying story kind of stuff there, revolving around the zombie film that's being produced. And then kind of on the sidelines, we see some towns people, kind of talking about the making of this film, and some are kind of, a little bit annoyed by it. Some are sort of excited and kind of wanting to like get involved themselves. And there's a pub that is blatantly being connected to the slaughtered lamb in An American Werewolf in London. I think they call it, it's like the dirty dog or something like that, and then they call it the severed arm, and they're like thinking that there's going to be some scenes shot there in this zombie film. But yeah, a lot of the setting is sort of a definite nod to An American Werewolf in London. It is set in the UK with English actors. So it does have that kind of fun UK kind of vibe to it. At times kind of put me in mind of like Hot Fuzz, which I really like that. If you're a fan of Hot Fuzz and you want to see a neat take on An American Werewolf in London, kind of done in the vein of a parody of sorts, there's definite funny moments. I found myself chuckling a good bit as I was watching this. I think I was hoping for a little bit more of like the practical werewolf stuff that I kind of got from Bone Hill Road and other werewolf films, but this didn't take itself too seriously. Whereas I think Todd's effort with Bone Hill Road was, intentionally, going to the ends of making very real looking werewolves, and a lot of them, and have it be a really heavy story and very dark and atmospheric. This kind of achieved that, but in a different way. And some of like the kills and the attacks were kind of held back. That when you do see the werewolf effects, they do look good, but they are kind of limited. I had hoped to see a little bit more of the attacks, and some of it was done off camera, and like it faded to black, and kind of cut out. The sound effects were really good, and I thought, for what I think they set out to do here, wanting to pay tribute to An American Werewolf in London, which my thoughts on that were validated through talking to Rob, the owner of Wild Eye. And he said, yes, that's definitely what the filmmakers were going for. So, and it was pretty obvious. If you see this and An American Werewolf in London, you're going to see a lot of different similarities and visible nods and connections there, which are really, really cool. I mean, not only the setting, being in the UK film as well, and the pub, and the werewolf goodness going on in the darkness of the woods, and kind of surrounding the set, and some of the actors and everything. It even has a scene of like two backpackers in the puffed, like ribbed down coats that are kind of like shiny as they're kind of like walking through like the countryside. They're not walking through like the moors or anything that are like wide open. They're kind of like up on like a hill there in the countryside, along the woods, and you hear the snarling, and it does sound really creepy. There's definite creepy moments, some intensity. Like I said, when you do see some of the werewolf effects, they do look good. But don't go into this thinking that you're going to be seeing a very dark, intense attempt at a werewolf film. It's not meant to be that. I would like to see this again. I would definitely recommend it. I really appreciated the tribute to An American Werewolf in London. As I said, that's one of my all-time favorite films. And actually, kind of blanking on his name. I'll have it kind of fade in here after the fact. But there's an actor that actually played. I think he was like a helper in the hospital in An American Werewolf in London, and he also had a role, I think, as a hospital patient in this. I kind of missed that as I was watching the Snarling, but I do remember him from An American Werewolf in London, and then through talking to Rob, he kind of gave me that fun fact and said, actually, this was his final film as he passed away not long after the filming wrapped on this. Now, this is a 2018 release, but I think he passed away in 2017, so I'm sure movies take a while to make, so obviously they must have wrapped filming and continued production outside of 2017. But like I said, I'm gonna hopefully recall his name here. I'll have to check that email. I'm blanking on that, but I'll include that here. So anyway, really cool, fun film, lots of laughs. There's some really goofy detectives and policemen that definitely reminded me of like the feel of Hot Fuzz, and just like the zany kind of slapstick kind of sense of humor kind of thrown throughout. And while the lead actor, who's really pompous, he's very annoying. Some cool stuff definitely kind of comes out of that, and definitely kind of a surprise ending too. Saw it coming as I got a little bit closer to the end, but it's sort of surprising, and I like the way that it ended. But yeah, I wish I would have seen a little bit more of the werewolves that were doing the snarling. More of it kind of relied on the sound effects and the unseen. But definitely check this out. Let me know what you think of it. Rob, thank you again for sending this my way. And I hope you enjoyed my review of the Snarling. Until next time, guys, have a good one, and thanks for watching.
All the brutal murders took place during a full moon.
Oh, great. The only light for miles around and the power goes off.
Well, at least it's a full moon.
I'm sure you've all heard the series of gruesome murders by an alleged werewolf.
Clear the set! Clear the set now!